Hello, our criminal was Caryl Chessman, and this presentation is by Grace Hines, me, Lily Stamper, Gio Boulette, and Callie Roberts. In this image on our first screen is the process of the Merton strain theory that we are going to be using to analyze our criminal.
Background of the offender. Carl Chessman was born in St. Joseph, Michigan in 1921. He grew up in Glendale, California. During the Depression, Chessman began stealing food to provide for his family. In the late 1930s and early 1940s, Chessman was in and out of jail for auto theft. In January of 1948, the state of California charged Caryl Chessman with 18 counts of robbery, sexual assault, and kidnapping. Two female victims identified Chessman as the red light bandit, a rapist who used a red light to impersonate police officers. Because Chessman had forcibly removed his victims from their vehicles, he was charged under California's Little Lindbergh law that carried the death penalty. Chessman's capital conviction and unprecedented 12-year stay on death row fundamentally shaped public opinion and legal precedents on the death penalty nationwide. He proved to be a bright kid with a dark soul. School wasn't a challenge, but stealing was. By age 16, he had made crime his life's work. In 1937, he was collared and incarcerated for the first of a dozen times for car theft, burglary, or robbery. He served 2 stretches at the Preston Castle Juvenile Hall, but came out unreformed. Overview of crimes. Chessman had a long criminal record, spending most of his adult life behind bars. He was a 27-year-old parolee from Folsom Prison in California when he was arrested in Los Angeles as a prime suspect in the red light bandit incidents. His modus operandi, a particular method, was distinctive, stalking known to be popular areas for couples seeking a place to park and be alone. Chessman would approach the vehicle with a red light, similar to one used by police officers, and then assault the unsuspecting occupants of the car. He professed his innocence, but was indicted on 18 separate counts, including kidnapping, robbery, assault, rape, and sexual assault. 2 charges included mandatory death sentences, based on the passage of the Little Lindbergh Law in 1933. Chessman was charged with said kidnapping when he forcibly removed his victims from their vehicles.
The theory that we chose for our criminal is Merton strain theory. Merton strain theory is a strain between real goals and lack of opportunity to achieve those goals. We chose this theory for Caryl because he lived in poverty with his family. At a young age, he was forced to start stealing to get food for his family, which got him in trouble, and that stopped him from achieving any goals and opportunities he might have had. Caryl continued on later in life, committing different types of crimes and getting himself into big trouble. He was not able to make a life he would have liked to have because he did not have the chance to change his life around.
Grace, can you go to the next slide, please?
I'm clicking the button, but it's not letting me go.
Oh no.
I've been clicking it.
Maybe hit like space.
Oh, did it
Yay.
go?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is good. Thank you.
The aspects of Caryl and his crimes that fit our chosen theories. Strain theories state that certain strains or stressors increase the likelihood of violence. Chessman was constantly under the stressor of poverty, which could have led to his burglary and outbursts of violence. Whether individuals cope with strains through violence depends on their ability to engage in legal and violent coping, the costs of violence, and their disposition for violence. Judging by his upbringing, Chessman did not experience rehabilitation and wasn't risking losing much when committing his crimes.
So I just want Professor B to know I'm struggling. My voice is gone, but I'm gonna power through and my members are gonna help me if they can't understand me. So my first source was called The Chicago Outfit, Alien Conspiracy or Machine Politics, which is a little interesting of a title. So the researchers described the outfit as the city of Chicago's traditional organized crime group. The term traditional organized crime is used here to refer to the alliance between criminal groups and corrupt government officials that has existed in large American cities since the second half of the 19th century. Organized crime in Chicago could not have existed without the official blessing of those who controlled municipal, county, and state government. Ethnic secession theory argues that organized crime is the direct result of conditions within American society. The ethnic secession argument is grounded in strain theory. Strain theory explains organized crime as a mechanism by which those living in socially disorganized conditions obtain wealth and power through innovative or illegal means. Merton wrote that Al Capone represented the triumph of amoral intelligence over morally prescribed failure when the channels of vertical mobility were closed or narrowed in a society that places a high premium on economic affluence and social ascent for all its members. In strain theory, crime is the result of exposure to a cultural ideology in which failure to orient oneself upward is regarded as a moral defect, and failure to become mobile is proof of it. However, the authors end by saying, although there is strong support for strain theory as the foundation of the ethnic secession argument, strain alone cannot explain the continuation of organized crime, but residents of socially disorganized slum neighborhoods have traditionally used crime and organized crime in particular as a mechanism of social advancement. So my second source, the title is called Social Structure, Inami, I think that's how you say it, and National Levels of Homicide. So this one talked a lot more about Merton's strain theory specifically. So bear with me, it's kind of a little bit more information. At the core of Merton's macro level arguments regarding societal levels of crime is the notion that societies with a relative balance between cultural pressures for success and institutional control of the means for success should benefit from lower levels of deviance. The researchers that wrote this article assess how several cultural patterns identified by Merton's influence levels and patterns of crime at the national level, both independently and in interaction with and interacted with measures of opportunity. Can you two understand me, by the way? Is my voice sounding okay?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So according to Merton, in stable societies, quote, stable societies, a relative balance exists between the emphasis on material goals and the acceptable means for attaining them. Such societies neither overemphasize material success goals nor compel members of such societies to adapt when goals are unfulfilled. Although some individuals may pursue more lofty material goals, the general pressures to achieve wealth, like in the idea of the American dream, these pressures are a product of virtuous means. The article says that conformity is valued and balanced with achievement. Individuals are compelled to pursue success by accepted and conventional means, like in education and hard work, without feeling undue pressure to win. And so in these societies, they are characterized by a relatively stable social order, which leads to lower levels of antisocial behavior. So Merton says The extreme emphasis upon the accumulation of wealth as a symbol of success in our own society militates against the completely effective control of institutionally regulated modes of acquiring a fortune. This argues that excessive emphasis and pressure to achieve material goals or success leads to members of deinstitutionalized societies freely deviating from conventional means to achieve that success. This is particularly true when conventional means for attaining success are structurally blocked for considerable portions of the population. And so all of this, all of these large words are to say that when there are structures that don't allow people the opportunities to succeed and are focused too much on material goals, that leads to more deviant behavior because they have less resources to achieve their goals. So Merton says, it is only when a system of cultural values praises certain common symbols of success while its social structure restricts or completely eliminates access to approved modes of acquiring these symbols for a considerable part of the same population that antisocial behavior is much more likely to ensue. Here, Merton suggests that the specific cultural patterns of the means or goals integration observed in a society are likely to be critical in determining whether blocked opportunity matters as a crime-generating force. These findings lend support to Merton's argument that the criminal and structural components of the social system interact to influence macro-level variation in crime. To assess the degree to which Merton's theory explains variation in homicide rates at the national level, the researchers created 4 hypotheses and utilized recent data they found. The findings of their study were generally supportive of Merton's propositions. Overall, they found that stable societies benefit from lower levels of homicide. They also found that deinstitutionalized and demoralized societies, which are ones that focus on material goals and traditional means of achievement, were found to have significantly higher rates of homicide. They found that when there was a de-emphasis of material goals, there was significantly less homicide. So this suggests that both cultural and structural factors are important in explaining macro variation in homicide, especially at the societal level. And this all relates to our criminal because of how their background led to them to commit certain crimes. And Gio is going to expand on this, or yes, in the next slide.
So these are the solution suggestions for preventing crime. Crime burglary solution we can create better programs to provide food and necessary resources for people to survive. The next crime is sexual assault, and the solution is promote social norms, protect against violence, work on bystander approaches, and mobilizing men and boys as allies.
And these are just our references.
Okay, that's it.